We will go through the heart or the pump station of our body in details. Plus, first of all, we have to know that what is the structure and how it will be in our body. Yes, it remains at the left side of our body, just inside the rib cage. Okay, just beside of the left lungs. It is connected. Got it? But it's a separate, not it is fully connected, but it is a separate muscular body, and it is as big as our fist. So if you make the fist according to your fist the same height or the same shape, you can say the heart in your body. Got it? So it vary from man to man. Got it? Now we will go for the functions of its body, or at first the structures of its body, how it is mechanized. Okay, so if we go through the schematic figure or schematic structure of the human heart, we will observe that there are two atrium and two ventricles, left and right atrium, left and right ventricles. Okay, and all these left and right ventricles and the atrium helps to circulate the blood that contains lots of nutritions. And not only this, but also whenever we used to go for respiration, we know that through breathing and respiration process we takes in the oxygen gas and takes out the carbon dioxide gas. So that very time all these oxygen gas molecules and the carbon dioxide gas molecules has to move inside each part of our body and move to the carbon dioxide reached blood. Through it, carbon dioxide gas is taken out from our body. So all these conditions or all these responsibility are maintained only by this fluid that is known as the blood. Got it? And blood has the different type of cells. One cell is present that is called the red blood cell or the RBC. What for? The blood is red in color. Got it? And these red blood cells helps to connect or helps to take or absorbs the oxygen molecules inside it, and then it flows each and every part throughout our body, and from their cells, the body cells used to takes all those oxygen molecules from there as well as all other nutrients, and they used to get active. After that, the carbon dioxide that is reacted and that is comes out, it also moves or circulates from each part to heart. So it means that when the heart used to when in heart the blood moves inside it, inside the inside the heart. At that very time, blood used to carry the oxygen from the pulmonary vein, as pulmonary veins contains the oxygenated blood. Okay, and through these pulmonary veins, you will observe, if you follow the diagram that I have given, if you observe it, you will observe that it is the left atrium. It means along with the left atrium, the pulmonary veins are connected and the oxygenated blood is moving through it. So at that very time, what happens when the amount of blood moves inside the atrium, automatically this atrium, as it is a very thin wall coated, okay, very thin coated, so that's why it used to relax itself. Okay, so this relaxation mode is known as the diastolic mode or the diastole. Got it? This is the diastole. This is called the diastole in science, or in lab also doctor also say the diastole. Got it? It means the relaxation. Now when it comes in the contraction process, contraction means when it comes in a they have a pressure, they gives the in the inner pressure, so that all those very oxygenated blood comes directly to the another chamber, that is the left ventricle. Got it? From left atrium to left ventricle. So at that very time, contraction comes in the left atrium and relaxation comes in the left ventricle. So contraction of the atrium is known as the systole, and relaxation of the left ventricle is known as the diastole. Okay, so it means that you have to keep in your mind that always contraction in the heart, it means systole, and relaxation of the muscles in the heart, that is the diastole. What is systole and diastole? Mainly systole and diastole or systolic diastolic pressure are checked when people used to go for blood pressure. Okay, what is blood pressure and how it is measured and from where it is measured, everything will be discussed afterwards. So in this way, the left part, only the left part of the heart. As I have told that there are two different chambers, two pair of chambers are there. So first chamber, the first side, that is the left side of the heart, okay, in it is contained by left atrium and left ventricle, and it helps to move the blood along with the oxygen reached gas. Got it? So that it is very much good for ourselves. Now we will go for the right atrium and right ventricle. Yes, through right atrium and right ventricle there is a vena cava, you can see, and vena cava, the upper vena cava and lower vena cava. Through it, what happens, the blood that contains the carbon dioxide, it comes inside the atrium at first, and from there directly it comes to the right ventricle. Okay, right atrium to right ventricle, and from right ventricle again it moves to pulmonary arteries. So through there it used to moves out and it goes to lungs, and from lungs the carbon dioxide gas used to removed out from our body. So in this way, in the circulation process by this pair of chambers, it used to move. First of all, left ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, oxygen reached, then right atrium, right ventricle, carbon dioxide reached. So all these bloods are used to moved in a circular way. And it why it is called the why it is said to the heart as the pump station, because it always used to pump itself, it always used to jerk itself. Okay, why it is jerked? As the flow, we know that the blood is a fluid, but it is a liquid type structure. So when this liquid used to move from one side to another side, we know that there everything, every matter has its own pressure. So when it comes or when it flows throughout the veins and arteries, okay, the tubes, so throughout these tubes, when it moves, automatically our pressure used to comes everywhere, and in heart also. So that's why heart used to move just like a lub dub pressure. Okay, it is said as lub dub. So through lub dub, every time, frequently, in a sparse seconds, our heart is just jerking, and by this process the blood circulation is held in throughout our body. Okay, so this is the ultimate part of this chapter, that is the pump station or the heart, and what is its function and what is its inner structure. So all about it. Now we will go for that. We have already said that oxygen comes through blood, or oxygen comes through lungs to heart, right? We know that through respiration or through breathing, oxygen comes into our lungs, and from there through pulmonary veins, that very oxygen comes into the left atrium, then left ventricle, then each part of our body. Now we will read that when this oxygen rich blood comes in our body, then how can we take it different, like how can we take it separate from the carbon dioxide rich blood? Because we know that there are lots of tubes. One part of tube is known as the vein, and there is artery. Okay, and artery always, keep in mind that artery always takes the oxygen rich blood or flows the oxygen rich blood, whereas the veins flows the carbon dioxide rich blood. And if you observe the total structure from this given diagram, you will observe that all these tubes, all these small tubes, those which are totally connected, each part of our body, it is totally different to each other. Okay, they have not mixed anywhere. Yes, they have mixed in few parts. Okay, in few parts they have mixed, and they have make a net like structure, and those net like structure are known as the capillaries. Got it? So it means that somewhere the arteries and the veins are mixed together, and all those very needs mixing stages are net like structure, and these net like structures are known as the capillaries. Got it? And through these capillaries, the oxygen rich blood are get separated from the carbon dioxide rich blood. So this is the ultimate function of it. And after that, what happens against again the same thing happens what I have already told for the heart, that separately oxygen gas moved through blood to each part of our body. Then our blood, the body cells used to absorb all those very carbon oxygen gas. After that they release the carbon dioxide gas, and from there the blood through these capillaries, the blood goes again to that very muscles or that very cells, and absorbs the carbon dioxide, and from there they come at the right atrium. So in this way, the that very capillaries helps to exchange the oxygen and the carbon dioxide gases. Exchange means when carbon dioxide oxygen is taken by the cells, after that they used to react themselves, after that they release the carbon dioxide, then the carbon dioxide is taken by the blood again. So through capillaries such type of works are held. Got it? Now if we go for few type of animals or few type of or the fishes, we will observe that for the animals they have the three types of three chambers, as we have read that four chambers are there in the people's or the human's heart. But if you go for the animals has the three chambers in their heart. Got it? So for that purpose, in their heart automatically the oxygen rich and the carbon dioxide rich blood mixed together. Now if we go for the fish, for fish also in their heart they have a two chambers. Okay, okay, one is artery and one is ventricle. So for that purpose, only for filtrating the oxygen gas, they use their just what is the through gills. Yes, through gills they used to filter the oxygens through from the water, and they takes it. So as we have seen that for ourselves, two chambers, two pairs of chambers are needed for inter part of the body's blood circulation, the oxygen carbon dioxide gas circulation. So we can see that our this circulation process is known as a double circulation, the double circulation. And if we say for the animals and for the fish also, they have the single circulation process. Single circulation means only one time the blood used to circulate, and it one time for it goes as the oxygen rich blood and comes back as carbon dioxide rich blood. So that's why it is said as for single time it happens every time. So that's why it is said that single circulation. And in our body through by two times it happens. So that's why it is said that our blood circulation is double blood circulation. Okay, so this is the topic of this part. Now we will see the blood pressure. I already told that blood pressure, blood helps to means the blood circulation mainly depends on the blood pressure. Okay, our blood pressure, sometimes we have seen that sometimes for the old age or the aged man, or for the person those who are doing heavy work, okay, or the players those who are playing for a long time, after that they used to take the breathing in a maximum amount, okay, rather than us. So for that purpose, when we check their blood pressure, so automatically their blood pressure used to increase from the normal level or the minimum level. What for? We have already seen that it helps, or it comes in different way. Sometimes it happens that when the temperature increases in any human's body increases, so at that very time the circulation of the blood used to increase. Okay, the speed of the blood circulation is to increase. So whenever it increased, automatically the temperature increased in people's body, and that time that very persons feel very uneasy by themselves in their body. And when we observe, when we take the checking, so after checkup we just follow that the blood pressure is has already increased. Okay, so this is the process. Now what is the normal level of this blood pressure? Normal level for the systolic pressure, we can say it is the 120 mm per hg, and the diastolic pressure is 80. Got it? So this is the normal pressure, and from this pressure sometime it happens that the blood pressure used to increase and blood pressure used to decrease. Now from where, the question is from where this blood pressure has to checked. Yes, of course, whenever doctor is to go for checking the blood pressure, they used to try to find out the artery, because we know that from artery the oxygenated blood used to move. Got it? And if you go for the artery that very tube's thickness is quite thicker than the veins. So that's why when the oxygenated blood pumps through heart to each part of the body, that time it takes a heavy force into itself, as we know that as it is thicker. So it means the pores, the inside vacuum part is quite small than the veins. So that's why it needs the pressure, the blood needs the pressure to circulate each part of the body. Okay, so that's why blood, for checking up the blood pressure, artery is quite beneficial, and doctor used to check through the arteries, not the veins. And which instrument is used, which doctor's instrument is used for taking the blood pressure, that is the sphygmomanometer. Okay. And the normal pressure is systolic pressure for the heart is 120 mm of Hg, and diastolic is 80 mm of Hg. Okay, so it is all about the blood pressure. Okay, now come to the tubes, means the two type of tubes I am telling for the first time, that is the veins and arteries. Look here in this topic, just we have to distinguish from between themselves, that how is veins and how is artery, and what is the characteristics of themselves, and what is the feature of themselves. Okay, so if we go for in a normal way, so these all both are tubes, and I have already told that if we go for the thickness of the wall of the tubes wall, so we will observe that the arteries cell wall is quite thicker than the veins wall, and artery contains the oxygenated blood while veins contain the carbon dioxide blood. Then arteries needs more pressure to move or circulate the oxygenated blood, and our veins needs a very less pressure to move the carbon dioxide rich blood. Okay. And sometimes and sometimes not, and artery contains the oxygen plus lots of nutrients along with it, whereas carbon dioxide rich blood only contains the carbon dioxide gas into itself, and it provides to the right atrium. Okay, so this is the process, this is the entire practical and very easy process to understand. Now few another things may be present over there, those which I have not explained, you must read the book, then few of the important topic you must get from there. Okay, now we will go for the maintenance of the platelets, means how can we maintain the platelets. Here the platelets means the cell, the blood cells. We know that whenever people get wound or any cut happen on their body, so from there that abnormally blood used to clot, got it, abnormal blood used to comes out. So at that very time what we have to do, we have to stop bleeding, we have to stop bleeding, and sometimes from the inside part of the blood it also helps to stop bleeding. After some time whenever it cut, after bleeding a few, then blood used to stop itself the bleeding. And how is it possible? Because they have the plasma, and through this plasma they try to stop that very leakage, and from then by the leakage, as it is totally covered, then blood doesn't come out or bleeding doesn't happens. So this is the topic. Now we will go for the next part, that is lymph. Okay, what is lymph? The another name of the lymph, if I say, it will be quite easy to you to understand, that is the tissue fluid or the tissue liquid. It means at the internal wall, at the internal cell wall of the cell or the tissue, the oil or the fluid or the liquid that is present, that is called the lymph. And how these lymphs are uh, occurred. Actually, lymph are made by the plasma and protein cells, protein body, and few amount of RBC. Okay, few amount of RBC and protein body and plasma. So these only these three ingredients are needed for making the cell liquid, okay, or cell fluid or tissue fluid. So this tissue fluid helps to it used to remain inside the tissue. As we know that tissue means a combinations of or assemble of lots of cells. So when the cells are present at the cells wall, okay, near the cell wall, at the outer structure of the cell wall, this fluid used to occur, and it is used to kept over there. And it is totally colorless, it's totally colorless and contains less protein. Okay, lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries from the intercellular spaces, which join to form a large lymph vessels that finally open into larger veins. Okay, and lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into the blood. So this is the function of the lymph or the tissue fluid. So in this way the transportation in human body it used to complete it. Now we will go for the transportation in the plant's body. In transportation in plants topic, we will read about the transport of the water and minerals and all other nutrients from the soil to plant's body, as well as we will read also of the transportation of the food items, okay, or the sucrose that is called from the leaves to each part of the plant's body. Okay, so let's come in the details. In details, whenever we will go for checking it up. So at first we will say that by the help of the photosynthesis process, plants used to make their own food, and for making their own food they needs the four important ingredients, and for most of them that is the sunlight. Along with the sunlight it takes the minerals, it takes the water, carbon dioxide gas, and in the presence of the chlorophyll they used to make their own food. It means the glucose or sucrose, that is H12O6 on their in their leaf or green parts. And green parts means the chlorophyll is present, where chloroplast is also present, and chloroplast helps to prepare their own food. It means they used to help in the reaction of the photosynthesis. Got it? Now we will say that before completing the photosynthesis process, how do plants used to absorb the water from the downwards and it takes to the upwards? We know that there is in the plant's body, we have read in class 7 or 8 in science that they have the sieve tubes, and sieve tubes are of xylem and phloem. Okay, two types of sieve tubes are present, and sieve tubes are totally connected from root to each part of the plant's body and up to the green parts or up to the green leaves, you can also say. And it's a tiny openings or tiny pipe like structure, you can already say, that also helps to transport, as we have already read in the plants in the human's body, that veins and arteries are present. In the same way in plant's body the xylem and phloem present. Now we will read about the xylem, because for the transportation of the water and the other minerals and the nutrients from the soil to plant's body or up to the leaf, already the xylem is working there. Okay, now we will read for the xylem, the process by which the xylem sieve tube, the xylem tube helps used to absorb the water. It is also a part of absorption. Okay, they absorb all those very soil, the nitrogen, the potassium from the soil, not so such type of nutrients along with the water, and they takes it, and we know that soluble water is soluble, nitrogen is soluble in form, it remains in the inside the soil. So all those soluble parts of the minerals are being taken to the leaves, directly to the leaves by the help of the xylem. Got it? And in this way sometimes it happens that xylem used to take the extra water along with it, that is not needed. We also have read it in the primary classes also. Okay, so what they used to do that time, the extra water used to goes out using by with the help of the water droplet, either water droplets or in a gaseous form. Okay, during the daytime the excess water that is being taken through the roots to plant's body, if it is excess and not needed by the plant's body, they used to vaporize it out by the small pores of the chlorophyll. Got it? In the same way at night, when they cannot when there is a absence of the sunlight, so due to absence of sunlight, all those very water droplets cannot go out as a water vapor from their body, so it remains on the edge of each leaves of the plant's body as a droplets, tenuous droplets. So all those very droplets are the excess amount of the water that is not needed or that is excess in the plant's body, and such process is the transpiration process. Yes, so through transpiration process they used to take out the excess water, and the water that is needed or the enough amount of water is needed for making their own food. So in this way they used to make the own food. Now the time has come that when they have made their own food, they have reacted together and they made the C6H12O6 with the help of H2O, CO2, chlorophyll, and the sunlight in the presence of themselves. At that very time, phloem, the another sieve tubes that is just beside of xylem, used to work in the same way. Phloem used to work as a osmosis process. We know that in the osmosis process or hypertonic solution, we read already in the hypertonic solution, the cell used to absorb the water from the outside to inside their body, and this process is known as the osmosis process. In the same way also, the sieve tubes called phloem used to do the function just like the osmosis, and along by the help of the osmosis they used to absorb the water. Not only the water, they takes also the sucrose part. Part means the food particles, the food particle that is totally made or already made by the help of the photosynthesis. So all those waste sucrose part and the watery part used to move in each storage part of the plant's body. It could be for few plants it could be the root part, for few plants it could be the stems, for few plants it could be the flowers, for few plants it could be the fruits. So in this way, each and every type of plants and trees have their separate storage parts. So on that very inside the storage part, they used to store all those very glucose, and from there they used to take and they used to go for their daily lifestyle, and as well as they store the food and all those very fruits we also take, and animals also take as their own food. So in this way, simply we can discuss the transportation systems of the plant's body. And what is translocation? Here is another part that is known as a translocation. It's quite a new topic. The translocation is a process of circulating the food particles after photosynthesis, okay, in each part of the plant's body. This is translocation process, and translocation is held only because of the phloem tissue, and phloem tissue or phloem tube is also a kind of sieve tubes. So this is the process of completing the circulation in the plant's body. Now when we were seeing the plants, how do phloem tissue used to work, or how do xylem tissue used to work? Actually they used to go for osmosis at first, because with the help of osmosis, xylem used to absorb the water from the soil, then nutrients or the minerals from the soil. In the same way, phloem also do go for the osmosis process and absorbs the food items, the food particles of sucrose and the water from the plant's body. So in this way they completes the osmosis process. We know that whenever any cells, or if we go for practically ourselves, when we used to go for any kinds of work, we need the energy, right? In the same way, when any kinds of body cells used to go for the work by themselves, they also need the energy. And from where they get the energy? Yes, they take the cellular energy. That is a, in the cell, we know that in the cell there is a storehouse or the energy cell. What is the name of it? Okay, it is known as the mitochondria, right? So from mitochondria they takes the excess energy, that is known as the ATP, okay, adenosine triphosphate. So from ATP they takes the energy and they go for their own work. So this is the entire part, the entire process of the transportation system of the human being as well as for the plants. So please read the book well, then just listen or watch this video. Hopefully you will understand everything. Next we will go for the excretion on the next day. Thank you.